Two teen girls accused of an anti-white attack on a New York City woman have been arrested and charged with hate crimes. Police say the victim was approached by the teens while on a city bus on July 9th, where they then hit her in the head with an unknown object while making anti-white statements. A third suspect is still being sought.
Hey everybody, Ozark Gilman here. So, honestly, I am pretty much shocked that they actually use the term anti-white in the media, even besides the fact that these black teens were arrested for a hate crime against a white person. Because, this kind of thing happens all the time. It is so regular. It's happened against Asian people so much, usually by black men, and then the media even try to blame white people for that. They've run interference for this so long. The DOJ, everybody even tried to, avoid showing statistics because it skewed so much, especially against white people, other minorities, most often by black people. But when I was a kid in Atlanta, this happened to us all the time. When we moved there, when we lived there, it was a brand new neighborhood. And you know what? The large majority of black kids would jump the white kids. We always had to fight our way out, just to survive. Stuff constantly stolen, and yeah, it was because we were white. Never even really got reported to the police. It was just every day, all day. There was one cool black kid that hung out with us, but we were worried for him. We were worried what would happen, when he got jumped. And honestly, I've never even really talked about this much before to hardly anybody outside my close circles or anything. Um, it's just very well known. But this is what, again, I'm shocked by this because of the institutionalized, anti-white garbage that's out there. Just Google whiteness and look it up. I'll show you a few things. So the media and numerous others claim that, uh, white people are just a social construct. Numerous articles. This is basically, you just look up whiteness as absolutely nothing but negative and how to undo it. Whiteness training, white male anger training through the military. Just on and on. It goes through like this. And they also claim that we were only invented, which that's not true. We have a common European ethnicity, Indo-European language, Indo-European culture. That is all the archaeological definition of a people. So no, we're not fake. We're not a social construct invented to oppress other people. That immediately labels us the privileged oppressors. And again, that is institutionalized from academia to government agencies, everything. The DHS is, targeting white people, calling anything. If white people speak up about issues that face white people in general, that's immediately labeled white supremacy. This was a hit piece by CBS Mornings about Allentown, Pennsylvania. Whites, who were almost completely the population of the town, became a very small minority. Crime drastically went through the roof. As you see, there are some responsible people like shop owners like these folks. But even the shop owners, you can see what they have to say here about the local white population, and the media, the journalists, is just cheering it on.
Yeah. Even a little bit. You say what? Oh, I don't know. It wouldn't be very nice to say it on TV or whatever. Suck it up, and it's gonna happen.
So this was a hit piece from my CNN really just a day ago. What it means to be a white Christian nationalist. So if you're white, if you're a Christian, if you're a nationalist, in other words, anti-globalist, a patriot is what they call a nationalist. Obviously, it was not a flattering portrayal. It brought in some professor to just go on kind of an anti-white spew for a long time, selling books, making money off of it. Um, Ironically, he's from a state, from Oklahoma, in a taxpayer-funded state, bashing the very people who make up the very large majority of his own state and fund his paycheck. The comments very frequently ranged and was the common thing for calling for these liberals are calling for the government to shut down predominantly white churches, saying that we're terrorists, etc. This is another one when Asians were being attacked on the street. It was almost exclusively by black men. As you can see here, the entire media was blaming white people, calling it white supremacy. The only, white dude who was a very well-known case, this evil turd, down in Georgia, killed several people. Many of them were Asian and some of them were not. His next target was a store that was Latino. He was targeting massage parlors, and race wasn't even a factor in it. Yet, knowing exactly who's doing it, again, they still blame white people. And things like this were a big part of the reason, probably, why Asians were being attacked on the street and creating ethnic hate toward them and interethnic hate. Uh, are Asians next in line to be white, claiming that Asians are successful because they have embraced white supremacy, etc.? These are all commonplace in any of the woke text. I mean, just look it up. Google Asians whiteness. You'll see it all right there in all their own official writings. This is all institutionalized, by the way. Same thing on CNN when several months ago, when there was a black guy plowed a vehicle into. This is shortly after the Kyle Rittenhouse exoneration, found not guilty. Black guy who had put out a lot of rap videos on YouTube, a bunch of anti-white BLM stuff in it. Plowed through a crowd of white people in Waukesha, deliberately targeted a mostly white neighborhood during a Christmas parade. CNN portrayed it as an accident, and even when they showed the guy's face, they lightened his skin tone on it so he wouldn't look black. YouTube immediately yanked down his rap videos and channel trying to cover for him. So they're literally running interference to protect people who are killing white people based on their race and trying to make it look like some kind of car accident. So, I mean, as you can see, for several years, 4 years ago, one of those calling us a social construct was written back in 2006 from academia, by the way. It's been festering there and now spills out into all the institutions. The people educated under this, white students have been, kind of told about their evil whiteness to, keep their mouth shut. But then if they don't talk about it, silence is violence. If you do talk about it, well, it's a cancel trap. Again, the whole thing is just a Kafka trap. There's no winning here. 37% of white men had to lie about their race just to get into college. And no, that was not because they weren't doing well enough or getting good enough scores. It's because they had to score so much higher. And even on top of that, the college admissions boards does on a case-by-case basis and quite frequently does not like to have a white male population in there, even though the decent majority of college students today are actually females. And now the most powerful organizations behind all these things, like the ADL, supposedly supposed to be against racism, they claim, says that really the term anti-white is just used by white supremacists. Same thing with SPLC. Again, these are pretty much exclusively radically leftist groups at this point, extremely well-funded, billionaire funded, and have major institutional power. They are the go-to institutional powers. And as you can see, just even saying that this happened to you, or that pointing out this fact that it's blatantly anti-white, is immediately called white supremacy. So you can see here what's been institutionalized. If you speak up about open borders and millions flooding across illegally, it negatively affects you, your home, your community, and it happens to be predominantly white. Again, that is white supremacy, as we showed in that hit piece by CBS. This is all pretty heavily institutionalized, guys. And hopefully, the only way to stop it is stop keeping your mouth shut. Stop being so scared to speak up for your own people and your own kids. Because, if it's this bad now, how bad is it going to be when they grow up? The language that is institutionalized today is already being put into practice. And it's already, white shaming and white guilting and everything for white kids, and everybody else is always their problem. Do you want your kids to have to deal with that in the future, but 10 times worse than it is now? This is Ozark Yeoman. Speak up and speak out. Y'all have a good one.